guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Janai and I'm back again with another video. Today is my in-depth application tutorial. First, I'm starting out with dehydrating and priming. I use my gelish dehydrator and Young Nails primer. Make sure you're not getting any primer on the skin because it can burn and it's not even supposed to be on the skin. So make sure you read the instructions on the back. Then I go in with my monomer. Then I'm going to go in with my brush. You see I have two different brushes. One's a 12, one's a 8. The one on the right side is horrible. We don't want to use that. Anytime the brush is bad, you just want to go ahead and throw it away. When swiping, you don't want to swipe too much. Just that swipe was good enough. Then I'm going to dip in my powder 1, 2, 3 times. The more times you dip, the larger the bead size. So if you want like a small bead, you'll only dip 1 time. If you want a larger bead, you'll dip 3 times. And you can see how the bead is risen off of the brush. It's not flat. This is why it's called a bead. I'm going to place the bead onto the nail. Because this is a larger bead, I do want to push the acrylic closer towards the cuticle. So if this was an actual client, because I use such a large bead, I would have placed the bead probably like on the stress area, which is where the natural nail and the nail tip meets. So you see, I'm going to take all that acrylic and pretty much push it back up towards the cuticle. I'm making sure I'm maintaining my shape, going to the side walls, and I'm pretty much going to keep manipulating it and playing with it until it's completely dry and I can't move it anymore. Most of the time when it starts to harden, people stop and the shape isn't maintained and you're going to have to like file all that at the end. And it's just too much work trying to move all of that hard acrylic around. So I showed y'all my brush. That was a very dirty brush. You want to make sure you clean it accurately like this. So make sure you get all of the acrylic out of the brush because it will affect your acrylic application. Next, I'm going in with my next bead. You see, it's risen off of the brush. I'm placing it onto the nail. I'm pushing up just a little bit and I'm pulling down. I'm going to my side walls. As you can see, I placed the bead too high up. So I know that there's going to be transparency towards the tip. That's fine because we're going to go in with a smaller bead to cover that. You want to make sure that you're patting down your acrylic because in this next bead that I placed, I did use a runnier bead and I placed that bead further up. So you can now see where I placed that last bead. I'm going to show y'all from the side angle. You want to avoid this. Anytime you do have this, you just want to go in with some more acrylic to completely cover it. We don't want to see where you place each and every single bead. So you see, as I turn it to the side, you can see the 2 humps. So now I'm going in with my next bead. This is going to be my cuticle bead. I'm placing it near the cuticle, not on. I'm pushing up and I'm going to pull it down. Then I'm going to go to my side walls. I'm making sure I'm blending it into the cuticle. I'm not getting any acrylic onto the skin. If I do, I remove it immediately because once it hardens, it's going to be really hard to get it off and this will cause lifting in the future. As you can see, it's on the cuticle. I'm going to go ahead and remove it, making sure it's completely removed off of the skin and fully blended. So when it's time to seal my cuticle, I'm able to do so with ease. The key is to take your time with the application part. So when it's time to file at the end, it doesn't really take as long. Okay, so this is my first application. I didn't do any apex. I didn't do any support or anything. This is how I'll pretty much lay my bead if I didn't have like a bead method. But the next few nails I do, I'm going to show y'all bead method so we can avoid this. Next, I'm going to go in with my apex. So I'm placing the bead near, but not on. I'm pushing up into the cuticle. And I'm not swiping all of the acrylic down. This is where people mess up and they miss making their apex because they swipe all their acrylic away. So you see, I kind of don't have the nail pointed down anymore. And it's kind of like angled a bit so the acrylic doesn't run down the nail anymore. I want it to be in that area. So now you see that hump is no longer there. Next, I'm going to go in with another bead towards the tip. Like I said in the beginning, I'm going to swipe up and then swipe down. You don't want to swipe too much because if you swipe too hard and too much, you'll end up swiping away all of the acrylic and then everything's gone. And you have to place another bead and you're going to keep applying, and you still like don't have any support. It's because you're swiping away all of your acrylic. With longer nails, you do want to have a little bit more support, so that's not thick enough for me, so I'm going to go in with another bead to create my apex. If we do have bead methods, we wouldn't have to apply so many beads because we will have support with the other beads. But now this is kind of like to the thickness I want it to be. It's not my favorite like structure, but like this is to just show you how like bead methods and how you lay your acrylic really does have a big impact in the overall end result of your nails. So now I want a really large bead. So now I'm getting a whole bunch of monomer. I'm not wiping out too much, and I'm going to dip and apply a little bit of pressure while I'm dipping. Like I said, for larger beads, you'll do like 3 and up. So I'd probably dip like 5 times. So I'm placing it in the stress area. I'm going to my side walls. This bead is kind of on the dry side, so I'm moving quick. I pulled the bead down. I'm moving back to my side walls. And we're just pretty much going to move that acrylic down the nail. As you can see, I'm doing light taps. There's no brush streaks. I'm not swiping off any acrylic. All I'm doing is just guiding the acrylic down to the free edge, and I'm going to just remove any of the excess acrylic. I'm pretty much just going through my sidewalls. I don't even think I really like focused on the middle for real. So now the acrylic is starting to set, but I do want to continue to shape and maintain my shape. So I'm going to the side walls. I'm checking like kind of like the side areas. It's the areas where it's not the side walls, but it's kind of like the top side wall. This area is missed a lot, and this caused like the shapes to be rounded if you don't really like get it in the application part or the shaping part, like in the end when you file. But I am going to have a filing tutorial, so I'll show you how I get that. And you can just see the thickness and the structure of this one bead versus the last nail that we did. So now I'm going to go with my cuticle bead. I'm going to place it near but not on. I'm going to my side walls. I'm pushing up into the cuticle, and then I'm pulling down. I'm making sure that my side walls are blended on both sides. If I get any acrylic on the skin, we're removing it. And we're just going to continue to maintain our shape, looking at the nail from different angles. If there's any acrylic that needs to be applied, which I can see right now, I'm going to need another bead in the apex area because it's not really thick enough. Yes, you guys, it needs to have a little bit more support. So I'm going to go with my next bead, placing it right where we just placed the last one, pushing up into the cuticle, pulling down. And remember, we don't want to have the bead reach all the way to the free edge. So we're just swiping down that bottom layer. The rest of the bead can stay. And as you can see, it's still not there where I want it to be. So I'm pushing the acrylic up into that apex area. So anytime the apex is not where you want it to be, just lightly push the acrylic into the spots to create that apex look. So you can see right now, boom. Just how many beads was that? That was a 3 bead method. So just by 3 beads, we have a nice structured nail. So you're looking at the nail from the side, anywhere that needs acrylic, you're just applying that acrylic and you're maintaining your shape, y'all. It's really simple. Just remember these steps and these methods. Cuticle bead, you're pushing up. Look how I'm placing my cuticle bead. You don't want to flood the cuticle. My nail is pointed down so the acrylic can kind of move down the nail. I'm blending my sides, and I'm just swiping the bottom edge of the apex bead. I'm not swiping the whole bead, because if you swipe the whole bead, you'll swipe away at your apex. And this is one of the things that I had to learn the hard way. So you can see the structure of it. It's not too thin and it's not too thick, and it has a nice transition from the cuticle, kind of like a natural, to make it seem like it's growing naturally out the nail. But that's pretty much it for this video. I will have a shaping video, and the next upload will be a shaping video, y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.